Longtime Congressman Charlie Rangel is facing an ethics trial, but rather than take a plea deal, Rangel said he got guidance from a higher power.
How lucky you are when God tells you that you don't have to take a plea. That you can tell them that let the facts speak for themselves. I exaggerated. I really didn't talk with God. She hasn't talked with me recently.
All right, well, let's ask Father. Yeah, he said she hasn't talked to me recently. But let's ask Father Jonathan Morris. He's here about what he thinks of that. Is that a scandal that he says that he got a message from God? Lots of people pray and decide on their direction.
And I would give him the benefit of the doubt. He was talking to God. Anyone who's in trouble, right, and goes and gets down on their knees. God, help me, give me guidance and strength. So you're saying Charlie Rangel was talking to God, and God told him, don't get a plea deal, go and fight it, And then he comes out and it turns out he admits saying, I only used that I exaggerated in the heat of the campaign. He said it just for the show. He himself said that. And then secondly, he says, basically he mocks the idea of praying and getting guidance from God.
Why? Just because he says, I talked to her? That's not mocking.
No, not that.
He kind of laughed it off. He did, in a sense, there make a mockery of the whole concept.
What he said is, God hasn't spoken to me in a long time.
In other words, if it's a farce.
As if, yeah, come on, like, who does God really speak to?
So he was doing that for that campaign speech, just at the podium, letting people know I spoke to God.
I'm not judging his intent there. He himself said that, okay, I didn't really talk to God. In other words, he didn't tell the truth. And then secondly, he went and made a mockery of the idea of getting guidance from God. And that's what's disconcerting about this.
Let's get a little specific, because I hear from Christians sometimes who say, you know, I get a little, and this is Christians saying this to me, I get a little concerned when other people say that they're speaking to God, or God speaks through them. Pat Robertson has been hit for this a lot of times. Is there concern when someone says, you know what, God speaks to me, he doesn't speak to you?
Or even worse, when a politician says, God told me to go to war, or something like that, right? Or reduce the interest rates, and then you go do it. No, because we have to seek guidance from God, but then you also have to discern. I'm not fallible. I am fallible. I can't just go and get direct messages from God and just act upon them without testing them, whether they're rational. Secondly, getting guidance from other people you trust. And so if God, yes, we should go talk to God and ask him for guidance, but then keep it to yourself what he tells you if you're a politician.
But isn't that what Charlie Rangel was backpedaling?
He chuckled it off, too, which was a little uncomfortable.
He said, basically, I think he made a mockery of anyone who would go to guidance and then receive some sort of guidance or wisdom from God.
See, I saw it differently. I saw that if he did consult God, and then when he was called on it because of what you're talking about, that politicians shouldn't say things like that, that's when he made the political statement.
He said he hadn't prayed in a long time, correct?
Yeah, he said I exaggerated, and it's true. He hasn't spoken to me. God doesn't speak to me since a long time. So, in other words, he was saying, okay, I just did it for the show.
Yeah.
Maybe you're right, Alice.
No, it's hard to interpret. Somebody else's conversation with God is hard to interpret. But
the she part was interesting too.
We're trying to get a transcript.
Yes.
We're trying to get a transcript from God this morning. Oh, I think I got it in my ear. We're going to get that. Father Jonathan Morris, always great to see you.
Very good. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, sir. Coming up on the show, tantrum on the baseball.